So today's topic is going to be about how pandemic proof are your finances.
All I can say is COVID has been a beast this year.
It has.
It has basically put a lot of people on notice when it comes down to it. Just making sure your finances are straight and just making sure that everything that you have is basically like foolproof when it comes down to it, you know?
Mm-hmm. So we did get the economic impact payments, right? Mm-hmm. So that was what, $1,200 per adult, $500 per child. But for many, that didn't really help solve the issue of being in lack right now, you know? Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people have lost jobs. Quite a few people have lost loved ones. Mm-hmm. It's been really tough.
Very tough.
This has been like a beast. Let's talk about the financial part of this, right? So I want to read this out because I thought it was very interesting. $1,000 saved can cover a small emergency, and you be ahead of 59% of Americans who don't have it saved.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
It's kind of scary, right? Mm-hmm. So $1,000 emergency, and we have that percent of Americans who don't have that saved.
Yes.
So the reason we entitled this "How Pandemic Proof Are Your Finances" was because people are losing income, right? Mm-hmm. And so, can you make it through this pandemic of whether you have a job loss or you still have your job? Mm-hmm. Are you staying above water?
Right. And the thing about it is we want to make sure that you're not putting yourself back in debt because of a situation like this. Most of the times we see people, you know, they're like, man, hey, we don't know what to do. We don't have an emergency fund. We don't have this. We don't have that. Next thing you know, they get a credit card in the mail. Bang. They're like, I got to use this. I got to use this. But we're trying to make sure that you're not going to go back to that thing.
We don't want you to dig yourself in a deeper hole.
Right.
So the first thing that came to my mind when the business is closed was, oh my goodness, I hope people have a nest egg that will hold them over. Because in my mind, this was just going to be for a couple months. You know, it's been really strange, but I'm thankful for the blessing because we both are still employed, but we do have a lot of friends and family members who have experienced a lot of hardships because of this.
Right.
And so, you know, I remember sitting there and I was watching Dave Ramsey. Shout out to Dave. Whether you like him or not, the guy is good at what he does. And so I was sitting there and I was listening to him, and it really sunk in when I was listening to some of those calls about, you know, people losing their jobs during this COVID pandemic era, and just how much of a toll it was taking on them. I mean, in between trying to juggle the kids, and then you were working, and then you lost your job. So that's that stress of income, and then the kids were still in school, but not in school, but in school, but not in school. You know, some of y'all kids did not finish the virtual classes. You know what I'm talking about. But those that did, kudos to you. But, you know, that was a whole stress level becoming a teacher, and then you lose your job, and then you gotta look for income.
Right.
And, you know, this economic impact payments that we received, you know.
Yeah, I just feel like that was a band-aid to the problem.
Well, it is a band-aid, but it was necessary because there were a lot of people who were already underwater before this happened.
Right.
You know, when you heard businesses having to close the doors 2 and 3 weeks into the pandemic situation, you start thinking, well, man, you were living on the edge.
Right.
So we don't want you to live on the edge, because we want you to be in a situation where things will happen and you can bounce back and you won't have to be stressed out because of it.
That
you know
is
what
correct.
I'm saying?
That is correct.
So we have 3 points. So the first point was, you got to get your $1,000 emergency fund, and don't touch it. Put it away, because you're gonna experience an emergency, and you need to be able to have that. Because the thing about being debt free is, it's not like bad things won't happen. Bad things will always happen. Murphy, I feel like Murphy was on our back for a while. You know, I'm like, come on, my back heavy. But But if you're prepared, or at least somewhat prepared,
Right.
It's better than being caught off guard and not having anything.
Right.
We don't want you to have nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So the other one was,
do you have a fully funded emergency fund? If you already do have one, kudos to you. Just keep working on every other aspect of this. Just make sure you're still paying your debt, doing the debt snowball. Do what you got to do. Because when it comes down to it, if you already have it, that's the perfect way to start off on the right foot. What my mom used to say, on the good foot, when it comes down to it. So just make sure that if you do have your $1,000 already saved, kudos to you. The people that don't, hey, it just takes time. If you can do it within 3 months, cool. If you can do it within, just make a timetable, set a goal for yourself, and that way you know that it's gonna work out for you. Okay?
Yeah, and I know some of you guys are probably wondering, well, shoot, if I didn't have $1,000 to save, how am I gonna get a fully emergency fund? Fund that, because that's 3 to 6 months of living expenses. But let's break it down. So for those of you who are still working, stop putting that money away. Like, for the most part, most of us are still confined to our homes. We're not going out there and eating out as much as we used to. So find ways to get creative to cut back. I've been amazed at how many businesses have started since the pandemic. So get creative so that you can get out of a sticky situation. That's $1,000 right there. So what do? We need you to get prepared. I don't care if it's, driving. I have a couple friends who've been doing that and making some extra money on the side. Whatever you need to do, whatever it's deliveries, something. But be safe, because life is always more important than finance. I'm just going to say it. But finance does play a big role in the type of life that you have. But you got to be alive to enjoy, right? So be safe. But find different creative ways to get that $1,000 and then start working towards that fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months living expenses. Because we're in this pandemic longer than we thought. Some industries have been really hurt by this pandemic. And the question is, how do we bounce back? And how does the economy bounce back, and how will you bounce back? So no matter what's going on, try to save 3 to 6 months living expenses. And your ultimate goal is to be debt free, because the less money that you have going out of your household is the more money that you have within.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? It's almost like a big old castle, and like how the kings and queens and royalty, you live inside this castle and it's protecting you from everything outside. You want to build you up a castle, right? Right now, our castle might only look like 1,700 square feet of castle, but, it doesn't matter if everything inside of your castle is paid for. Exactly. And you don't have a ton of money leaving. That's the key, right? You don't want a lot of money having to leave the castle. And so build up that nest egg and get your $1,000. Get your 3 to 6 months living expenses and make your goal to be debt free. Because honestly, that is the only way that you're going to be prepared for another pandemic or emergency situation that we found ourselves in today. So like, follow, and subscribe below. And so you could get the latest and greatest of whatever discussions that we're talking about, because we're going to be talking about a lot this year, whether we blog it, and then we're going to do these vlogs. So definitely stay in touch. And just another plug, we have started our financial coaching business. So if you know in your heart of hearts that this is what you want, but you need a little guidance,
just give us a call. Just contact us.
Just contact us.
The link is right below.
Yeah, WNPfinancial.com. Right. And get a consultation. It's free. So definitely we want to help you. We are in the season of seeing others experience a life that they have not been able to experience. Right?
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. Until next time.
Peace.